So which is the best tarot deck or rune or oracle deck for you to read with? I'm going to say the answer is whichever one you know the best. I think it's quite obvious that the deck that I use the most is the Rider-Waite-Smith Centenary deck. I have spent time over the years looking at each of the 78 cards, noticing the detail, studying the meaning, researching the artist, researching the meaning. So this is without doubt the deck that I understand the best. So almost always, if a client wants tarot reading, I am not going to ask them what style of deck they like. I'm grateful to own a huge collection of tarot decks. I am going to pick the deck that I know I read with the best. And I read with it the best, not because it's the universally best deck in the world, but because it's the deck that I have taken the time to get to know. The other deck that I have used professionally, and I still would if somebody had a particular interest, perhaps in Druidry or Wicca, or maybe it was a deck that they owned themselves, then I do know the Druidcraft deck by Philip Carr-Gomm well enough to read it professionally. These are the only two decks where I have really sat and looked at every single card in depth. And if maybe, like many people, you've studied the Rider-Waite-Smith deck a lot because it's so popular, but you are reading with a different deck, then you need to blend your knowledge of this deck with the image that you are looking at with your reading deck. You can't just transpose what you know about this deck and squish it into another artist's interpretation. The other deck I use is my own rune card deck. It started as a student teaching project and just seemed to go further than I ever expected. I work with the 16 runes of the Younger Futhark, and I am endlessly delighted that every single rune is perfectly represented in the way that I would like it to be. So I love working with this deck. I work with a triple deck, so every rune is present 3 times, and you can buy a copy of this from my website. So work with whichever deck you know the most.